In this video, we'll talk about being a lifelong learner. Learning is not limited to how many school and college years you've had. Instead, it's a constant, ongoing process of evolution, one that involves acknowledging that you don't know everything. It's an important factor in shaping your personality, introducing new concepts and ideas to you, and helping you educate yourself without any limitations. If anything, the worst thing you could do to yourself is insist that you already know everything. But choosing to evolve isn't always easy. Evolving means mastering success by continuously becoming a better version of your current self. It also implies that you be humble enough to accept correction and improvement. Embrace learning and constant improvement. In order to become the best version of yourself, you need to implement this rule in your life. For this, you need to accept the fact that no information you have is already complete, and there could be more to know about it. Be open to more knowledge and facts instead of being rigid and deciding that what you already know is final and enough. Say you hear about a new research paper on one of the subjects you had while graduating. Not being open to constant improvements and knowledge would make you think, I don't need to waste any time reading this. On the other hand, your approach to it could be as a lifelong learner, in which case you'll constantly struggle to further improve your learning and educate yourself. Also, it's only at school that parents or teachers push you to study and learn whatever's in the curriculum. After that, you're on your own, and learning becomes a self-motivated task. It's a personal choice you make every day that doesn't necessarily imply to studies alone. Instead, it implies to the overall education you have. You could learn from a documentary that is completely unrelated to your career. You could learn how to milk cows from a relative who owns a farm, or you could learn how to make jam from your grandmother. The point is just to learn from anywhere about anything. Never stopping learning. There are so many reasons why you should never stop learning, and not one logical reason why you shouldn't. The struggle and desire to learn all your life can shape your personality for the better. Everyone knows that one person in their circle who's just so charismatic and interesting to talk to. Someone who genuinely has something to contribute to conversations instead of mere opinions. Someone who has knowledge and stories to share with everybody. Such are lifelong learners. When someone decides to never stop learning, they also decide to be more independent, useful, and hence successful. Learning also makes you more influential. It makes people consider your opinion and take whatever you say seriously because they know it comes from deep knowledge and is based on facts rather than intuition. If anything, learning is the minimum requirement for success in any field or life in general. You need to keep increasing your knowledge to keep up with everything that's going on. If it's a specific field where you need to succeed, then you need to engage in some maintenance learning. This keeps you on track and keeps you from falling behind. If you need to groom yourself further, you need to get into some growth learning. This type of learning expands the mind by teaching you skills you didn't have before. And finally, there's something called shock learning, which contradicts something that you knew before. For the most part, this can potentially be the most beneficial type of learning, as you first have to unlearn something that you knew before. Then you have to relearn the new information, which gives you new insight into an old situation. Unfortunately, most people choose to ignore this in favor of the old information and sabotage their own success. You need to be never afraid of change. What stops you from becoming a lifelong learner? The reason why most people fail to have this approach is because of themselves. After being done with a subject, most students never go back to the library to open up a new book about the same subject. Same is the case with all other situations in our lives. We are not open to learning. If someone tries to get our facts right, we end up getting in an argument because we're too stubborn to admit that we could be wrong and the other person is actually doing us a favor. It's important to remember that the one thing that you're most short of in life is time. It can be a huge barrier to lifelong learning. In order to be a lifelong learner, you need to change your mindset and concepts about it. You need to make learning a priority. There are no rules, no boundaries. You need to embrace this journey and learn about anything from anyone or anywhere. It's not about pouring yourself into books. It's about things you learn every day from those around you. It's not confined to the walls of a lecture hall. Live as if you were going to die tomorrow. Learn as if you were to live forever. Mahatma Gandhi. Great thinkers, leaders, and influencers all had many things in common. Lifelong learning is one of them. In order to achieve personal success and also to be more valuable and useful to those around you, be a lifelong learner. Don't confine your learning to years or places. Don't confine to learn just from books. Anyone and any event can teach you important things as long as you set your mind to it. Have a strong desire, almost a hunger for knowledge. Without real passion towards learning, it'll be like a burden you bear in school years, not education. In this video, we'll talk about live in the moment. Living in the moment means to be fully aware and mindful of the present moment. It may involve some effort on your part, as it means not dwelling unnecessarily on the past or being overly anxious about the future. To live in the moment is to seize the moment you are in, living it to the fullest, experiencing it without letting the past or the future distract you. In fact, living in the moment means acknowledging that someday will never come. If anything, it's already here. It's right now. So don't put off your goals just because it's not the right time or you don't have the funds. You can still work for your goals despite these setbacks. The time may never be right unless you're prepared for it. So prepare right now. This presents the entire idea of living in the now and not just living it, but realizing the importance of it. Giving it the emotions and thought that it rightfully demands, focusing on what you have now, focusing on the task at hand, and focusing on all that you can thank today for. Be present and mindful. Being present in the now and being mindful of the very moment you're living in allows you to make it even more valuable and meaningful. Instead of pondering over the past or worrying over the future, make the most out of the present. If your goal is to spend more quality time with your family, then do so. Say you're in a family gathering, but instead of giving family the attention they deserve in the moment, your eyes are glued to the phone screen, your ear not paying attention to what the person sitting next to you is saying. You nod your head every once in a while without paying attention to what's been said at all. Even if the phone is put aside, the mind still remains occupied with it. The precious few hours you finally spare for the family time all go to waste, and you have no clue when you'll be able to spare some time for them again. Instead, seize the moment, live it, and be mindful of it. Make the most out of opportunity at hand, not letting distractions take away what you have now. Feel the moment and embrace it. Unless you learn to be present and mindful of the moment, you won't be able to give it all your best. A first date, a late night call with your best friend, a walk with your dad. We do it all, but we don't give it our all. We're incomplete when all these moments slip through our fingers. Just because we were too busy being in so many places, states, and moments in time to be actually present. We were too distracted to be present in the moment as a whole. Meditate. If you find yourself caving into distractions easily, consider meditation. Meditation can be very helpful in learning how to live in the moment. It's a practice that helps find inner peace and acceptance, both of which are essential for being mindful of the present moment. It's also a great way to relax so that you're able to let go of all the stress, anxiety, and thoughts of the past or future that haunt you. Unless you're truly relaxed, there is no living in the moment because the present gets overshadowed by the past or the future. Meditation techniques are preferably practiced in a serene, calm, natural environment. Think of times or places like early morning near a lake or in a field where there are no beeping phones, no honking cars, just the consistent melodic sound of water and the birds chirping. Meditation would require you to focus on these, slowly tugging away at all the thoughts that had occupied your mind. It teaches you to live that very moment to the fullest, to be able to sense and appreciate it fully. Even breathing during meditation has a significant effect. Deep and relaxing breaths help you feel like you are taking in positive energy and getting rid of negativity burdening your mind. With a couple of deep breaths, you can feel the relaxation and peace take you over, so you're able to enjoy these moments of peaceful solitude. Making a daily habit of meditation will help you stay calm and focused on the present moments throughout the day. Practice gratitude. Gratitude and living in the moment go hand in hand. Without living in the moment, you can't be grateful for the little things that make life worth living. A witty answer, a hilarious joke, that first bite of a delicious steak, the patter of rain against your window, the giggle of your child when he sees you. If you're not mentally present and mindful of these little things that make every moment of life precious, you can never be grateful. How can you know the worth and value of these things if you're too lost in the past or worries of the future to live such moments? When you live in the now, you experience each moment completely and you learn to appreciate it. Be happy with what you have now, with the contentment that where you are, who you are with, what you are doing is everything. The realization that what is in your hands right now is the best, without thinking, hey, it would be better if, or this is good, but learn to be grateful of what you have without any ifs or buts. Don't waste away what you have by thinking of something you once had and lost, or by wishing of something you may never have. Be grateful of what your now comprises of. Constantly letting the past distract you keeps you tied to it, keeps you from making the most of the present, and constantly thinking of the future, of what could be, what could have been. All of these thoughts do not change what has happened and can't help you decide what happens in the future. What has already been and what will be are not in your control. But it is in your control to live in the moment, to enjoy the present, to live every moment in a way that makes it count. Measuring your success by what you have now is so much more than imagining what could have been or could be. In this video, we'll learn how to be accountable. There comes a certain time in your life when you realize that now you are accountable for everything you do. The idea is quite daunting, as accountability is needed in all spheres of life. In some situations, you have to be accountable for yourself alone, while in others, you're accountable for others as well. Take responsibility. The first step of being accountable is to take responsibility. Now, it might be a personal responsibility or one that affects others around you. For instance, if you're the head of a family, you have to be accountable to them too. Or if you're leading an excursion tour, you have to be accountable to your tour group. Remember this, with great power comes great responsibility. So take full responsibility of your actions and don't make excuses if something goes wrong. You need to realize that you're in charge and it's only you who's accountable. So take the responsibility of your action and theirs too. It's easy to throw someone else under the bus for anything that goes wrong, but the mature thing to do is to take responsibility rather than make excuses. If the tour didn't reach its destination on time, are you going to blame someone from the group for not coming on time? Or are you going to take responsibility for not making the instructions clear enough? The choice is up to you. Always remember, it is mature to be accountable for yourself. It might not be the best feeling in the world at the time being, but you will feel much content later. Say it out loud that you'll do it. Positive affirmation is very important, so it's crucial to keep reminding yourself that you will do it. Sometimes you get sidetracked by events or people, but you mustn't let this be permanent. You're also accountable to yourself for your mission or goal in life. You have to determine what you want to do or achieve in life. Ask yourself what you're good at or what you like. Base your goals and long-term plans on your capabilities, desires, and strengths. Make a mission statement for yourself. Write it down somewhere so that you can read it every day. Many people have inspirational quotes on their walls or phone screen so that they look at them every day. In this way, they get inspired every day, even on ones that are not so good. But if you're someone with a knack for writing, write down your goals. Make sure to write it in a place where you can see it every day. If it stares you in the face, you can't run away from it. Or if you have supportive peers, get feedback from them. Ask them if you're doing things right or if you need to improve. This will help remind you that you need to do better. Also, it will give you an insight into how others perceive your efforts. If you're in a workplace, your subordinates can also tell you how well you're doing. If the feedback is positive, it'll motivate you to do even better and have a sense of accomplishment. And if the feedback's not positive, you can use it to improve performance, as you're the one who will eventually be accountable. Either way, feedback can do wonders, if only to hold yourself accountable. Be honest. Just as accountability is important, so is honesty. It's very important to be honest about the results. When you're working alone or in a team, you have to stay honest about the outcome of your efforts. Success only becomes possible when you own up to your mistakes. While they can be cumbersome, mistakes are also valuable learning opportunities. If you've done something wrong, own it. Ask yourself why it happened and what you can do to make it right. If you totally ignore it or lie about it to yourself and others, how can you ever hope to rectify it? Plus, when you're not honest with yourself, you'll always have a constant feeling of dissatisfaction. Your conscience won't let you forget it. So, wouldn't it be better to just admit it? Also, be honest about the goals you set. Be realistic. Holding yourself accountable for your actions is also a reality check to set goals that are attainable. Realism is essential when setting goals. Say you want to save money for a car and you tell yourself that you will do it in a year's time. Now, you need to be real about it. Do you have enough income coming in every month that you can save some of it for buying a car? Are you ready to cut out some expenses so that you can save? Will you be able to manage it in a year, or do you need more time? If you think your goals are realistic, proceed with them. Then, if you fail to buy a car in 12 months, don't make excuses or blame something else for it. Ask yourself why you weren't able to do it. Maybe you set the wrong time frame or misspent the money that you could have saved on unnecessary things. Be fully honest with yourself about the results of your personal quest or teamwork. A good way to prevent disappointment or unpleasant situations is to have a plan B so that you could fix things later. Being accountable can be a frightening thought because no one likes to be judged, especially for something that someone else did. But if you follow the right strategy and put in the effort, you'll be able to master the art of accountability.